staircase, and we went and people were bowing to our idols. And I believe that God was saying that a lot of the people, who appear to have made it may have done it the wrong way. And that he would like to see more examples of people who will pursue genuine faith and genuine righteousness and still be prosperous, still achieve, good success in a way they could hold up their heads. And so I shared a message on that in my local assembly, and I went on to share it also in the Apostles in the Marketplace, which is a network of Christians and other really, just a values-based network in the marketplace where we encourage each other. Iron sharpens iron. To live out, lives, values-based life, lives that are ethical, that demonstrate integrity, and that are also successful in whatever we choose to do. And so I was then encouraged to put it, to pen it in a book or put it in writing. And like they say, the rest is history.
Now, this is very fascinating and very relevant to the Nigerian society. And I'm curious. People doubt that you can be successful in a Nigerian marketplace without being dubious. There's a belief that it's a very corrupt society. Therefore, it is impossible, some will say, to be very successful in business without having been involved in something shady at some point in time. But your book is saying no. Yes. You don't have to be shady before you're successful in business.
That's what the book is saying. And in fact, I'll go even further and say it's an affront on our faith. If you think about it deeply, what it's actually saying is that, God is not true. That you really need to sort of cut corners. But what God says is that if you honor me, I will honor you. And I quote some scriptures from the book of Isaiah 59, where it talks about, the reason why at times God does not hear our prayers is because sin gets in the way of the flow of his anointing and his power. My own experience, that's why I say it's experiential, is even more relevant. I believe that, if one takes his faith seriously and takes his values seriously, and there are examples, it's just that they may not be as loud as the other side, but there are examples of people who have pursued, a life of integrity and have been very successful. The foreword of the book was written by Dr. Christopher Collade. He's an icon. People know what he stands for. And my view is that, if one embraces faith, fully, that it is possible not only to succeed ethically, but actually to excel. You come out tops. And my own experience and my own sort of life, I think, pretty much demonstrates that.
I was going to ask you that because, if there is anybody right in the thick of business in Nigeria, you are one of the people I'm going to mention. Considering the nature of the kind of business that you do, what kind of tests and challenges have you had to overcome, to remain, like the title of the book says, an apostle in the righteous in the market, an apostle of righteousness in the marketplace?
I think the first thing I want to say, because I don't want it to sound like we're dealing with apostles here, right? Okay. So I'm just dealing with people who are, and the book says so, people who are committed and are principal champions of righteousness.
So when you say apostle here,
that's there's an English word that means to be a champion, a supporter of a cause. That's what I mean.
That's what you mean.
And I'm saying that we need more supporters of the cause of righteousness. That's the first point. The second point is that I believe firmly that if one is genuine about his values, values means what you value, right? And you take a long-term view. The key is to take a long-term view and to be prepared to delay gratification. It is entirely possible, even more likely, that in the long term you will be more sustainably successful than somebody who is cutting corners. These are time-honored truths, and Nigeria is no different. It's just like people tend to have a short-term mindset here that gets in the way of actually looking at what works. You asked me about tests. I share a couple of tests in the book. One that was my own experience where I was involved in a property development where, one came under a lot of pressure because the property prices had come down, and one had what looked like a very juicy offer from a multinational. And all was going well until they started asking that we had to pay some kind of bribe or some kind of give some money that was dubious in order to close that contract. And I had to stand by what I believed, and I said no. I had to wait, and I paid the price. So I don't want to give the impression that it's easy. But I believe that I ended up in a better place, because I got the right tenants, and frankly, it's been a very good relationship, and it's been going for many years. The point I'm making is that if one would take his or her faith seriously and his or her values seriously, and then choose to leave them out, the world will make way for you. The key is that you must be prepared to delay gratification. I also believe that one has to, if God is real, then we have to invoke his powers, even in our everyday living, through prayer and through honoring him. And I think when people do that, they do get the results. And that's the message we want to come through in this book.
Thank you very much, Mr. Enelamah.
Thank you, Kunle.
Great book.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before you plant that seed deep within her womb, be careful to study that what you plant is life and not a tomb. See this man bred from a generation of thieves. He never paused to consider whether there be a sieve planted in the canal of his testis, testing its seed quality, controlling to ensure that zygote thieves from him remained unborn, and so that his generations ahead of him were striking a resemblance of face and of their fathers, nuisance thieves, begetting thieves, begat thieves, beget thieves. Wait. Before you plant that seed deep within her womb, be careful to study that what you plant is life and not a tomb. 120 moons passed, and see that boy sat by the tree. The elders came dragging his father, nearly breaking his neck. 3 wives and 12 concubines could not wrestle him free. Their breadwinner had committed adultery, but the boy did not run fast enough from his past, you see, so divorced and separated. And a father of 4 by 6 women, his only he is just at the age of 33. Wait. Before you plant that seed deep within her womb, be careful to study that what you plant is life and not a tomb. That girl child, the president's daughter, raised only by nannies, thoroughly trained on the streets by many forms of the male species, never told, don't let boys touch you, you get pregnant, you see. Given all that she wanted plus everything that mother pleased, we are the ones in power, living large, enough money, until at 16, her missing period no one could account for. Was it her father's friend, her uncle, or one of the other 4? Still, honey, let's kill this matter, or people will laugh at us. There'll be no fear. Society will no longer respect us. Yet now, at 26, a lavish wedding for her is being planned. It will cost 60 million naira. The tabloids, they run mad. Her fiancé, the son of a polygamous politician, sits worried. His brother, known to have a wandering hand, bring forth children with a history of an incestuous past. Have fate play again that age-old wicked recycling hand. Wait. Before you plant that seed deep within her womb, be careful to study that what you plant is life and not a tomb. That man who is now a leader of millions, let me read you of his life, his past, where he comes from, his father, his father's father. Behold, all generations of them 3, they never learned to stand for themselves. Pessimists, they never took the lead. Slave masters it was that reigned over their family tree, and now you expect them to lead this people 100 million and 3? Did you not hear where he came from? His legacy, the coward seed. There is a fear that kills the men in his family while they yet live. It makes them crave for nothing, no fire in their belly. Wait. Before you plant that seed deep within her womb, be careful to study that what you plant is life and not a tomb. I'm reminded of that story told tens of thousands of years ago of a superior being coming in, creating a spiritual stronghold. Let us make these men in our image. Give them the world to rule. Today, all I see is men born as kings living destitute. So this is what, oh man, you ought to do. Purge yourself of your past, even by deliberate solitude. Pray to God, yes, listen to a motivational tape. Be determined that your seeds unborn will surely escape from potential bad seeds, craving for the earth to populate. And before the seeds are brewed in your gland, deep in the prostrates, before the blood fills your electoral tissues like a flood, destroy the potential tomb by faith and even by his blood. Ensure that you've secured your future. Bring forth only your next best generation, not so for the past. Bring forth life and not a tomb. You are not your father, you're just his child. Bring forth only the new version of you, fulfilling a good father's prayer that you will be a better man, better than him, a goodly seed. Go on before you plant that seed deep within her womb. Get on your knees, man, and destroy that potential tomb. Come bearing seed, come willing to conceive for God, for man, and even for country, a superior legacy. Come.